This is Submodule 1-6, Solving Linear Inequalities. The same rules apply for solving inequalities that you use for solving equations, except when you multiply or divide by a negative number, you must reverse the direction of the inequality symbol. Okay, so that's the one difference. Okay, so we need to get x by itself. So we need to add 5. Okay, but then we have to divide by -2. So not only does that give me a -10, but I have to reverse the direction of the inequality symbol. So that's very important. It says graph the solution on the number line. Okay. Now, I don't, necessarily care that you have marked every number. Okay, but I need to have the -10 on there. Okay, do I need to put an open circle or a closed dot? Well, it's greater than or equal to. So if it includes an equal to, that means it includes the endpoint. So I need to put a closed dot. Okay, and then I'm going to shade the way the inequality points. So in this case, that's going to be to the right. So that would be graphed on the number line. Okay, for this one, distribute -2. Okay, combine my like terms. Now I need to get rid of the 2. Oh, now I have to divide by -2 again, just like I did in the last problem. So that's going to reverse the direction of the inequality. Okay. Again, it has an equal to, so it includes the -7, and we're going to shade to the left. Okay, there's another way to write your answer other than the way we did here. Okay, and that's in interval notation. An open interval is represented by parentheses. Okay, we have an open interval when we have a less than or greater than, and it does not have the equal to. So that means it does not include the endpoint. Okay. A closed interval is done with brackets, which are square parentheses. We use those when we have less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. And that includes the endpoint. Okay. All right. So, what happens if we wanted to write this in interval notation? Well, I always do it left to right. So I'm going to start out here at -10. Does that include the endpoint? Yes. So I'm going to go bracket -10, comma, to where does this go? This goes to positive infinity. Now, if you have an infinity, you never can actually go there and put a dot. Okay, so you can never include the endpoint. So anytime there is an infinity, you have to put a parenthesis. So infinity or negative infinity must be parentheses. Okay, because you can never go there and put a dot. So it's got to be parentheses. So if we did the -7 from the other example, Okay, I'm going to start here at the far left. That's parenthesis because that's going to negative infinity. And it goes all the way to -7, and it includes the endpoint, so it has a bracket. Okay. All right, compound inequalities. Two inequalities joined by the word and or the word or. Okay, an and inequality, you find all the values of the variable that make both inequalities true. So both pieces, it has to be an overlap. It's where both parts of the inequality are true. Okay, and those can be written in a couple of ways, and I'm going to show you one of each of those. Okay, for example, 3, it's just written with 2 pieces and the word and. So we're going to solve each little inequality separately. Okay, so we're going to divide by 2, divide by 2. This one we're going to divide by 9. Okay, and it says express the answer in interval notation and graph the solution. Okay, so you might want to graph first. I don't know. You've got a -5 and you've got a 2. All right, so this is an and inequality, so that means we have to have both of them be true. Okay, greater than or equal to -5 does not include the endpoint, so that's going to be an open circle. Okay, and then we're going to graph this way. And that's something I should have set up here. Open interval is an open circle. Closed interval is a closed colored in dot. Okay. All right, so doesn't include the endpoint, shade to the right. Less than 2 does not include the endpoint, shade the way it points, which is to the left. Okay, so it's an and inequality. It has to make both pieces true. Well, both pieces are true where they overlap. Okay, so we need to write that. So the answer is from here to there, shaded in the middle. Okay, so from the left, that's -5, does not include the endpoint. To 2 does not include the endpoint. Well, you say that looks like an ordered pair. You know, it really does. But just in the type of problem that it is, somebody that looked at your answer would know you didn't mean ordered pair. Okay. All right, the other way the problem can be written and be an and is like this. It's kind of sandwiched in between. That means it's this and that. Okay. All right, so we're going to solve it. And this one, okay, we could turn that around. You know, it's towards the opening towards the X. You can flip it around as long as it's still opening towards the X. All right, it's an and, it's got to both be true. You've got a -1 and you've got an 8. Okay, so this is going to be a dot at -1 because it includes the endpoint. Shade to the right. At the 8, that's going to include the endpoint. Shade to the left. Okay, so my answer is going to be where they overlap. Now, in this case, the endpoints are included, so you're not going to have parentheses, you're going to have brackets. Okay, to denote that you are including the endpoints. Okay, or inequalities. Or inequalities, you find the values of the variable that make one of the inequalities true. Okay. So again, we're going to just solve the little individual inequalities. Divide by 4, divide by 12. Okay, less than 4, greater than 12, not including the endpoints. All right, so you don't have an overlap, because you don't have to have an overlap. It's where one or the other is true. So the answer is just going to be here and there. So this is going to be a little harder to write in interval notation because it's going to be actually in 2 parts. So we start at the left, so we're going to say negative infinity, and you never use a bracket with an infinity, all the way to 4. Don't include the endpoint. And you might say, hey, this is an OR inequality. Yeah, it is an OR inequality, but the answer is here and here. Okay. And then it picks up again 12 to positive infinity. Sometimes you will see it written like this. This U is for union. This and this. But I just prefer to use the word and. This piece and this piece. Okay. All right, the last one. X is less than or equal to negative 3. X is greater than or equal to 9. Okay, this is an OR, so that makes me think it's definitely going to be in 2 pieces. It's include the endpoint because it's got the equals to. Include the endpoint here. Right. Negative infinity to negative 3. The dot means use the brackets. It includes the endpoint. Include the endpoint on the 9 all the way to positive infinity.